say, like, what does I'm going to ask you, what does intimacy mean to you? What is intimacy to you?
I feel for me, intimacy like really feels like bearing my naked heart, my naked soul, and my mind all to somebody so then they can actually just, it's almost, you almost like feel the oneness because you become so close because you've dropped the shield, you've dropped the armor, and now that person can actually hold space with you because you're opening up. So it's openness. It's a deep, deep, deep openness and a revealing of self.
Mhm. No, it's beautiful. And do you feel like at any point throughout your life you've had like blockages around intimacy? And if so, like what's kind of helped you be able to tap into that openness again?
I feel like I've had a blockage with intimacy, but I know I've had a blockage with like people full stop. Literally, so like, what's coming first? I'm trying to think, okay, where's the root of that? I'm thinking, literally trying to think of the root. I feel like it's always going to be fear. When you block yourself, it's always going to be coming from a place of fear most of the time. And so I'm questioning, okay, what was that fear that hindered that intimate sharing? And I feel like deep down, it's probably rejection, deep, deep down. So a fear of being rejected. And then in that fear, it's like, okay, well, if I don't show like 100% of myself, and at least they're not rejecting all of me. Actually, they don't even know me, so now they're not rejecting me. So I feel like unconsciously, I had so much different levels of defense mechanisms going on that it was hard to really see until I got into really exploring my consciousness, myself, my vessel, my humanity, my divinity. And when I started to really explore, I just seen so much, like so much beauty, so much rawness, so much sweetness that it seemed really, like, sounds mad, but it seemed just like really stupid to not to ever have been afraid of that. And it was almost like, when you get those epiphanies, those eureka moments, then you look back and be like, oh my God, like as if I couldn't see. Because I feel like that must be the root. Maybe I couldn't really see who I actually was. Like I had no idea. This beautiful essence, this soul, I couldn't comprehend with the tools that I'd been given and the conditioning and the indoctrination. I couldn't recognize myself.
Mhm.
So in this lack of being able to recognize myself, I couldn't see the purity, I couldn't see the holiness, I couldn't see the divinity, I couldn't see the God within myself. So I thought when you've got that separation from God or source or whatever you want to call it, you do walk around in the world shrinking. You do walk around in the world not fully harnessing your full power and your full potential to shine that soul resonance. So I feel like that would have been big, a big route to why I wouldn't have been intimate with my friends, with my lovers, and shared more of myself with even my family. Yeah. So I feel like I've answered that question just by working it out. So that's
No,
literally.
no, do you know what? That is what is needed. No, we need to take that time to check in with ourselves. And sometimes we don't think about certain things unless we're asked or unless we're kind of prompted. So being able to kind of like take that time and not just, say, oh well, I think this is what it is, but actually being able to think, actually, let me check in right now. Why could this be? That's beautiful. And this is what these conversations are about. It's about figuring things out, having these hot, like healing, soulful conversations, being able to figure out what's coming up and why certain things may be. That's This is what it's all about. It's a beautiful healing space. So that was very like beautiful for you to do, and I think it's also very brave to be able to do. It's very brave and courageous to be able to be like, okay, let me check it. Let me check in. Because that's vulnerability. That is vulnerability. That is intimacy. That is you thinking, okay, why did this come, and let me express this now, let me share this, you know. So that was really, really, really beautiful, like, definitely. And I guess with like what you were saying as well, when it comes to intimacy and that lack of connection to self or lack of connection to source, and being why we might not be able to express it with other people, I think that that's very important as well, because I think when we're afraid to be, I think as well, if we're afraid to be intimate with ourselves, you know, we're afraid to actually like look within, we're afraid to see our light and our dark, we're afraid to accept, you know, who we are, we're afraid to see, you know, maybe repressed emotions or like trauma or hurt or all of these things. We can't then bear that to the world because we're only viewing ourselves through a superficial lens. So we can't, so anybody else that encounters us, we only show that like prim and proper, nice, I ain't got no trauma self, you know. So I think, yeah, definitely being able to check in like with ourselves, and definitely being able to be vulnerable with ourselves too, you know, be